pound line on, a little 5/16 drop shot, and a VMC sickle drop shot hook. I don't know if you can even pick them up, but there's a few bass cruising here, a couple pound and a half, 2-pounders. Just checking things out. I think they're watching their beds and guarding their beds. There's a lot of bluegill in there. I think they've just started here. So I want to talk about the knot. I'm tying on a #1 Matsuo sickle drop shot hook on my 6-pound RUNCL Power Fluoro carbon leader. So the important thing that I want you to see is this needs to be a polymer knot, and this is important in getting your leader to the length you want. So when you rig it up, first of all, you're going in the eye, through the eye. If you've tied a polymer before, you're going to create this loop. Make sure your line's not crossed. We're going to tie this polymer. What's really important is this length that I'm reaching out here. This is going to get you that longer leader. So we're going to tie that up, let you see it, if I can hold on to it. So the first thing, one really important thing is, if you notice, that hook is up. You need that hook to be standing up. So we're going to do an overhand knot with that loop. Come through, create the loop. You don't have to wrench that thing down. It just needs to be tightened down correctly on the eye. And we're going to run this bait. We're going to run this bait through the loop. See the loop? The bait goes through the loop. Hook goes through the loop. Once that's done, we want to lightly tug. Again, I don't want to burn my line. We're going to pull that leader down. Now, I have more than enough leader now, as you see, because I had that bigger loop to get the leader that I'm looking for. Snug it up so it looks right. Alright, sometimes it'll get off the end there a little bit, so to make sure that hook is pointing straight up like it needs to be, I'll finish this up so you can see it. Put your line back through that eye, pull that line tight, and that should pop that hook up. If you can see, that hook now is standing up. For one, you don't want that hook sitting down, because if it's turned down when it's on the bottom, it's gonna grab hook things. It's already more than likely gonna grab on a few things if you're not using weedless. That might be something else I suggest, is when you're bed fishing and there's muck and things around, that you go with a weedless hook. I actually use the trocar. There's a trocar hook that you can apply. So I've got this a little longer for demonstration. You've got on this end, I've got 1/2 ounce tungsten, pro tungsten drop shot weight with that sickle hook. So again, say we're looking at the bed, I can just drop that rod tip, pick it back up. I can also do a figure 8 with my rod, and I can move this left, I can move this right. I can keep that bait in place to where you're effectively keeping in contact with that bass. Again, I employ a few other things that to get that fish in position. I'll switch up, change colors. Something that happened the other day was fall rate of the bait. I could pick one up, it would drop real fast. That piece of plastic that I was throwing in, the fish didn't want a thing to do with it. I happened to just pick up a harder, denser piece of plastic that the fall rate was a little slower. experimenting, and that's kind of what it is. Sometimes it's trial and error. You got to figure out what that fish, its mood is in, what bothers that fish. But this was kind of, maybe it felt like that was being sneaky, and it would fall really slow into that bed, and it never hit the bottom with that piece. When they saw that thing fall, they ate that. So that was kind of the key. Sometimes it's color. I can throw 5 or 6 different colors in there, and all of a sudden one color seems to fire that fish up. Oftentimes it's just being patient enough to outlast that fish. That fish eventually is going to come and lock down on the bait. I do feel like that if you spend enough time, 10 to 15 minutes on a fish, they get used to you and don't get so spooky. So sometimes it's just patience.
So I figured something out. Man, these are beautiful fish, nice and colored up. Pretty fish. I don't know if you can see this, but check out this sunset. It's great. I got a color that was working. Let's let this guy go. So I've caught like 6. I'm throwing 6-pound test. Like I said, I had that real long leader. Tried the creature bait is a little too big. The water's too clear. When the water's clear, try to downsize your bait if you're bait fishing. I had to take a break from driving, and I got that scene at the end of the night. Is pretty cool. That's what you live for right there. Hope everybody's safe, and you know, after getting here and seeing it, the spawn's on here in southern Indiana, and you know, tri-light line, longer leader, a little heavier drop shot weight to keep that bait in place. I did find a little piece of plastic that was a little more wasn't as soft, and it seemed to make a difference with these fish. It fell a little bit slower, so the fall rate when you pick that bait up would go slower, and it seemed like they'd pick it up and bite it. Everything else was falling too fast, and they just let it go. If you could keep it up there for a little bit, they'd come over and grab it, eat it, and run off with it. So light line, 6-pound. If you can go 4-pound, I usually go 6 pounds where I stop. 7-foot rod. Like I said, I'm using that Titan 2000 spinning reel. It's a really good spinning reel for bass fishing.